Hey listeners, welcome to Tetsuo Tells a Story. I'm Tetsuo. Happy Chinese New Year, everyone. First off, I'd like to apologize. I don't have any red envelopes to hand out. But what I do have are these 4 true, scary Chinese New Year stories just for you. So,
Let us begin.
Story 1. This occurred in Malaysia quite a while back. In a family, a daughter had just been killed in a car accident a few days before Chinese New Year, so they stayed home the entire period. The family comprised of the parents, 2 sons, and their deceased daughter. On the eve of the Chinese New Year, after their reunion dinner, they felt a cold wind while watching TV. The 2 sons told their parents that they heard their sister's voice, but the parents dismissed it as their imagination. The next morning, the parents were in the daughter's room. They found that the tidied bed was messy, as if someone slept there the night before. They took a look, and when they found a red envelope beneath the pillow, they nearly fainted, because inside was 180 Malay ringgit, roughly about 44 US dollars, the amount that they have often given to their daughter every year. Story 2. During Chinese New Year, many people would be rushing back home. There would often be traffic jam everywhere. This happened somewhere in China, and it was related to a guy named Lu Ban. He was going back to his town and decided to drive late at night on the eve of Chinese New Year to avoid the jam. In the middle of the empty road, someone wanted to hitch a ride. Seeing that the man was alone, Lu stopped and let him in. It turned out the man was actually going his way as well. The man claimed that he had a small accident and couldn't continue his way back. When Lu was back home, he soon realized from his fellow villagers that that guy was actually in a car accident many years ago and has since passed away. Story 3. A family was waiting on their relatives to come by their house in China when they got news that their relatives were involved in a fatal accident. Depressed, they decided not to stay home and went overseas instead. When they were overseas, however, the father got a call from his neighbor. It turned out that the relatives actually did come, but how could that be? Believing that it was a group of thieves, he got the neighbor to call the police. According to the neighbor, the relatives went off after that. When the family got back from overseas, they checked the footage via CCTV, and they got the shock of their life. It was indeed their relatives, and whom they were certain that had passed away in the fatal accident. Story 4. I used to work for the airline as a ground stewardess. There was this one guy who was a really good friend of mine. When my car broke down, he would pick me up and send me home. One day, I was waiting for him to pick me up, but on that fateful day, which also happened to be during the Chinese New Year, someone rushed in and said that he had died by electricity. I was shocked. That evening, there was a funeral held. Everyone was looking at me in a strange way, and I'd wondered why. I asked a friend, and they all said that they thought I was his fiance. His fiance? I've never thought of him in that aspect, but apparently he was going to ask me to marry him. That was the first time I've heard of that. It was truly bizarre. I just thought of him as a friend. Well, we all paid our respects at the funeral by approaching the body and saying a few words. I was actually quite scared, but did it. Anyways, while I was leaving, my car wouldn't work. Being one of the last people leaving the area, I asked one of the airline engineers and the maintenance guys to help me. They tried everything, but in the end, they just told me to go to the tomb and ask to take my leave. I thought it was silly, but I did it. Although it was frightening, all dark and scary in that tomb, I prayed, and I asked if he could make sure that I got home safely. When I returned to my car, you guessed it, my car started up perfectly. Thanks everyone for listening in on these 4 short, scary Chinese New Year stories. If you enjoyed these stories, remember to like, share, and subscribe to Tetsuo Tells a Story. Again, you can find me here on YouTube and podcast providers such as Anchor and Spotify. Do you have a story to tell? Let me know and I can read it to the world.
See you in the next episode.